In this video, we'll be discussing what gendered unpaid care work is. Around the world, women spend 2 to 10 times more time on unpaid care work than men, which has a big effect on gender inequality in the economy. Unpaid care work involves caring for children, the elderly, or doing housework within the domestic setting, work that is not compensated monetarily. Given the extent of work carried out, studies have recommended that the value of unpaid care work be calculated into the GDP of a country. Considering that this work is not remunerated, countries have not included its value into their GDP. Such undervaluation of unpaid care work has a negative impact on gender inequality because traditionally the burden of carrying out unpaid care work falls disproportionately on women. The International Labour Organization (ILO) has defined unpaid care work as non-remunerated work carried out to sustain the well-being, health and maintenance of other individuals in a household or the community. This includes many things such as mentioned before: cleaning, cooking, driving children and adults to appointments, looking after children's education, etc. Women across the globe are in charge of unpaid care work. Being occupied with unpaid care work and not having anyone to share the responsibility with often pushes women away from taking up other paid forms of employment while reducing their chance of being financially independent. The amount of time spent on unpaid care work is negatively linked to women's participation in the labor force and thereby limits their contribution to the economy. Even women who participate in the professional workforce often have to balance the dual responsibilities of their workplace as well as the household, a responsibility that men are often excused from. Globally, 75% of care work is undertaken by women. The lack of recognition, both monetary and otherwise, is evidenced through a survey where, despite high numbers of women carrying out all domestic work, only 1% of the men believed or even acknowledged that their partners were carrying out all the domestic work. This survey further pointed out that closing such gaps in unpaid care work will help more women enter and stay in the workforce, contributing to gender equality, especially in leadership roles. Unpaid work by women also shows strong correlation with education levels, financial and digital inclusion, and legal protection. Women who have access to education are more likely to share unpaid work with women more equitably, to work in professional and technical occupations, and to assume leadership roles. This implies that women who are less likely to have access to education are more likely to lose out on financial independence as a result of undertaking this unpaid care work. Women who enter the workforce often hold key caregiving positions professionally as well. Traditionally, feminine job profiles include those of nurses, teachers, caregivers to old age people, babysitters, etc. Roles other than these, some of which include lawyers, doctors, chartered accountants, engineers, are not only male dominated but also considered to be masculine in nature. These classifications draw legitimacy from prevailing gender norms that caregiving comes naturally to women. While the exact number of women may differ from country to country, researchers agree that women take up the majority of people filling in roles for care work. When such care work is paid for, these professionals are referred to as special needs assistants. The ILO in 2016 identified that domestic workers, who are 80% women, experience labor market discrimination driven by the lack of social protection. Women in this area have reported more cases of sexual abuse and gender-based violence. The unchecked conditions in this field result in workers receiving wages significantly below the minimum, having their wages withheld arbitrarily, and rarely paid overtime, among other problems. This also holds true for other caregiving jobs, which are historically lower paid than other jobs, which again tie into our idea of rewarding care work poorly because of the supposed lack of skill involved in the process.